Hello, welcome to another edition of Move It or Lose It. We are excited again to do part 2 with Dr. Jera. You may remember that we did this last time. We talked about sex and all of the things that come with sex and all of our autoimmune diseases. So welcome back, Dr. Jera. We're happy to have you back again.
Oh, it's great. It's great to be back again.
Yeah, I know it's so crazy with our times, both of us having MS fog, right?
Oh, yes. Busy
All of the
schedules
fun
and
with
then
that.
along with the MS too.
Yes. So if some of you don't remember, go back to, I'll put the number of the podcast that you were on, and it'll be part 1 and 2.
Mhm.
So again, I just want our listeners to understand that not only are you going for your dissertation, but you also have the multiple sclerosis and were diagnosed in 2014.
So I've already done my dissertation.
You did it. Okay.
Yeah, I have my doctorate. I've had my doctorate
Awesome.
now for 2.5 years. So I graduated and everything, but I'm going for my EPPP right now.
Okay.
So my
Okay.
EPPP to be a licensed psychologist.
Very nice. And when will that be? When are you taking that?
I am challenging myself to schedule for August. I don't know
Good
why
for
August
you.
is always like my month. I don't know.
Okay. So that's your cram time. That's like when you
Yeah,
seem to do the best.
that's my time. That's usually I feel like, it's kind of more of like a transition time to
Yeah.
so I picked August. Hilariously, me and my husband got married in August.
Okay. Nice. And it's kind of
So
like before the fall, before
yeah,
like,
before the fall, it's a nice transition month.
yeah.
Although down here in the South, we're like burning
Yeah.
up during that time. But yeah, I picked that month. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
studying for right now. And that's what my days are filled with, either clients or, university stuff with my students with courses for them,
Right.
or studying. And then, of course, we have a 15-year-old and a toddler, a 2-year-old.
Yeah. Jeez. So you're not busy at all. I mean, you got nothing going on.
I have nothing going on. Like my schedule's always free and
Right.
clear.
So, I mean, you have all the time in the world for any MS issues that would come up for you. I mean, anything that's MS wise, I mean, you have all the time in the world to have any sort of relapse or pseudo relapse. You have lots of time for that, right?
I have so much time for that. I mean,
So how do you keep it balanced with that? What would be
so
your advice in keeping the balance with all you've got going on? Because
so
everybody always wants to know that.
yes, and that's so funny. Even when going through my dissertation, like with the MS group that I was a part of, before I even hit like full blown data research part and picking participants, I had to, of course, not attend that group. I had to leave the group completely to make sure I'm not pulling anybody from there and that we have a relationship. So I made sure to do that ahead of time. But the leader of the group and his wife, Craig Snell, he will always ask, like, how are you able to do all of these things and
Right.
you still have MS? And at the time I was doing my Tasabri, and I
Okay.
was going on a monthly basis for like the hour, and
Right.
so it was, I I can say really it was just nothing but God, because
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
just to a point to where it was just so much that had to be done as far as my dissertation. I will admit I broke down a lot of times,
Yeah.
but
I'm sure you did.
but it was going through it and then getting back on track. So
Right.
trying to plan out. I keep a planner. I keep planners everywhere. I have like 2 big planners right here in front of me. But I keep planners everywhere.
And are you really good at writing? Because I'll write something in
Mhm.
and then I'll go to the next part, but I'll like skip pages.
Oh
I'm
no,
terrible at that.
I have to stay on track with that. I have to
Good
stay
for
on track with
you.
the pages, but then I also have my phone calendar. So
Yeah,
I put a
I do better
lot
than
of
that.
stuff in my phone calendar, and I have to have everything like different colors so I don't get used to
Yes.
seeing one color and it doesn't really
Mhm.
alarm me. So, but that's just a way of keeping it on track and trying to
Yeah.
stay in order and staying motivated, staying moving, because I feel
Yes.
like if I move around a lot, then my body won't have enough time to start to like
Yeah.
go down a little bit. And then I've also was told that by my neurologist. I told you on the
Mhm.
part one, Dr. Legank, he's
Yeah.
so awesome. But he was always telling me like stay moving, stay
Keep moving,
moving.
keep
keep
moving.
moving.
So when you did that, how did you kept your body moving, kept doing some sort of exercise, something to keep your body moving so that you weren't just, we know what that's like for our MS bodies. If we're just
Mhm.
sitting all the time, what that does for our
Mhm.
hips, our joints, that's where the atrophy sets in and those kind of things. So we know what it does to our bodies. So
Yes.
you were thankfully told by your neurologist, keep going, keep moving. Don't just sit there while you're writing all this stuff and doing all this important stuff, but
Mhm.
don't neglect the issues that our bodies have and that we've got to keep moving them.
Mhm.
You were
Yes,
able
yes.
to do that the whole time.
Yes, the entire time. And at one point, my husband and I, we would go walking, especially taking like the baby walking with us and stuff. And I told you on part one, I have to get back into that heavily. But right now, I like spend more time with doing things around the house to keep
Uh-huh.
moving. And then,
Yeah.
of course, our 15-year-old does travel volleyball, so we're traveling, doing that, and moving around,
Yeah.
trying to keep on track. But that was just the main thing what Dr. Liggett was saying, like, and it always
Right.
keeps playing, like, you gotta keep moving, you gotta keep moving.
Right.
Because I do notice if I do slow down to a
Mhm.
point, and then that's when, I told you I have chronic pain all the time.
Yeah.
So that's something that I deal with. But
Right.
I choose not to let it get the best of me, and I choose
Yeah.
not to heavily rely on the medications for it.
Yeah. I think
And
that's
that's
so
just a
smart.
choice,
Yeah.
that's the choice that I have. But I feel like movement will help
Yeah.
you. So,
Well, you know how I feel about that.
yeah.
So, and I do, I have this, I'm going to do a blog on it because I've got now, this huge box of supplements. And
Hmm.
then next to it is this small box of medications where it used to be the other way, where there were so many medications and my supplements were kind of small back when we didn't really know, do we need to take
Hmm.
this? And times have changed so much that it's so good to see such a small amount of medication
Hmm.
versus such a huge amount of supplements that we know that we need. So I'm with
Hmm.
you. It's like, I don't want to take all that medication, that we used
Hmm.
to have to take. And I am so grateful that there's so many other options that we can use. So
Yes.
I'm with you, sister. So as we kind of talked a little bit, I'm just going forward now about just sexual issues that come up with all of the autoimmune diseases, but we're talking just specifically with multiple sclerosis. I
Hmm.
mean, like I said, I'm picking them up like Pokemon cards. So I've got epilepsy and rheumatoid and all the other fun things. So, but with MS, I know that I had just done, and we talked a little bit about this. I had just done a 3-part series with singles with MS.
Mm.
And we talked a lot about that in particular, dating and the nervousness about dating, whether you're in a chair or you've got like the trekking poles or you've got a cane, and how awkward it can be when you're on it, when you're just out and all of a sudden you
Mhm.
see someone that you're attracted to. And then, they may not notice that you've got an aid, an AFO or something, and then they do. And then all of a sudden that attraction that you felt and that you both felt is just kind of gone after they see that.
Yeah.
And that nervousness. And then, coming, further from that, you're dating someone and it's becoming intimate. And then all of a sudden that nervousness kicks in for both male and females. So how do you address those issues with intimacy when it comes to dating?
So this is like on point with a participant from my dissertation, a male participant,
Mm.
and he disclosed that in the funny part that wasn't even fully a part of the questionnaire for
Uh-huh.
it. It was just something that he wanted to disclose to me before we even
Wow.
started up with recording. And
Turn my light
he
down.
wanted to try to talk about, I guess, ease into it a little bit because males always are a little bit like, they're kind of standoffish, especially with talking
Right.
to women about issues with sex. So he
So
actually,
he must have felt pretty comfortable.
yes, he just wanted to
Yeah.
kind of warm up to me first and then lead
Yeah.
into and then go. And he knew what the questionnaire was like way before we even, got the interview done. So, but he brought that up about how, reflecting back on before he had to have an aide and how it was so easy for him to be able to talk to women and to be able to be intimate. And then
Sure.
as his MS started to progress and he needed to rely more on the aid. He's in a wheelchair, can use a cane at times.
Mhm.
And he was saying that, it was a lot different, because he had such high, as he explained it, such high self-esteem and confidence to the point
Yeah.
to where he was arrogant a little. And
Okay.
then as the MS starts to progress, then
Men
he
arrogant? What?
what? Like, I've never heard that.
That's so odd.
Yeah. So, but he said that the first moment that he had to that he actually realized that it was a full-blown problem when it
Yeah.
came to an intimate moment with him and a
Right.
young lady. Um, he said that it just felt like to him like he was being like exposed. He felt
Yeah.
vulnerable.
Yeah.
He didn't even want to get to the full-blown part of
Right.
just like removing any
Hmm.
other piece of clothing. He had just took his shirt off
Sure.
and he was like wow, like I'm really. And he said the look on her face that kind of gave him
Hmm.
like, no, like we can't go through
Yeah.
with this.
Yeah.
So I talked to him about before I started recording
Hmm.
for the dissertation part that I needed to ask him the questions, but I talked to him about like, what it looks like to build up that self-esteem, what it looks like to build up your self-confidence. What do
Right.
you what does that look like to you, and what would you like to happen, especially with the partner? And then I also, of course, I asked him about hey, where did you meet this partner at?
Right.
Was this something that you guys kind of arranged in the beginning? Did you think that it would get to a point to where just by arranging this meetup or however you met to get to
Right.
that intimate moment, do you think that was something that was going to kind of boost you up to?
So where did they meet? What did he say?
So he said
That's
they
what I'm
met
curious.
they met at a party.
Okay.
So so I was kind of telling him about like building healthy relationships,
Hmm.
even if it's to a point to where you're just meeting that person at a party.
Sure.
And knowing that when you're building those because he actually thought that his body was going to perform, and he would, this chair isn't really a part of me. Like my body can
Right.
perform as. And once he realized it, and he was having issues with ED, erectile dysfunction,
Okay.
during that intimate moment too, and he said he just felt like that just shot him down even more.
Yeah, of
So
course.
I talked to him about like building a healthy relationship, starting
Hmm.
off with the talking. Now I know people have their preference of
Right.
saying like, no, like I don't want to go that
Right.
far into this. Like I just want it to be strictly intimate and that's
Sure.
it. That's your choice. But you
Yeah.
also have to be able to build yourself up and have that confidence and have that
Right.
self-esteem to know if
Yeah.
you do have an aid that's assisting you with walking or anything, you have to be able to kind of like get that confidence back in and build it
Yeah,
up. So that
for
positive
sure.
self-talk helps. That positive self-talk, those affirmations help. And then also I talked to him about like, this is your new life and goal
Mhm.
planning and knowing this is what your new life looks like, and how you have to look at yourself in the mirror a lot sometimes. And even if you have to look at yourself in the mirror with your undergarments on or fully
Right.
naked, like that's something that you need to get used to with your aid there, whether it's the
Exactly.
wheelchair or the cane, because that's a part of you now.
Yeah. So would
So,
you say, because what I didn't want to say this because I'm not, this isn't my area of expertise. I just talk a lot. So no, I'm very good at what I know I can do,
mhm,
but I'm
yeah,
also very good at what I know I'm not a professional in. And so what I kept thinking is I would have just made sure that this is me. This is my walking aid and this is who I am. Because I
yes.
wouldn't have wanted it to go further and thinking that this could be something
Mhm.
when it's not going to be. Because I think that they're going to show their colors pretty quickly.
Yes, always in those moments, especially in intimate moments, they're gonna show their colors.
Yeah.
But see, he actually hyped up the moment
Yeah.
to make her think as if like this is nothing,
Yeah.
and so
Sure.
it hit him when they were actually about to
Yeah.
be in the moment. So
And I
yeah.
and I can remember like when I met my husband, it was like 2015 and I was his trainer.
Mhm.
So for us, I really wasn't I was like high as a kite on Chase Sabri, doing amazing. I was running in half marathons. So you couldn't even tell. I mean, literally, I had to explain to him what I had. And, and he was, I remember him saying, but babe, you are so strong. This is never going to touch you. A couple years later, I'm looking for an AFO. So he really had to go through understanding this whole thing. And you can be doing great one year, and the next year it can just do what it wants. Now, to my defense, all of the exercise and all of the eating well through the years have served me. And I was able to climb out of that and really work through what I teach. But you get what I'm saying? Had I not explained to him several thousand times that, yes, right now I am doing very well, and I plan to do everything I'm doing for the rest of my life. It doesn't mean that MS doesn't have a mind of its own. It attacks my entire central nervous system. So I think educating the person that you're dating or with to the best of your ability, I think is important to have any intimacy.
It is. It is. You were basically just preparing him. You're preparing him for what could possibly come. And that's
Right.
always the best thing to do. And I do understand that some people don't want to go that deep into it if they do think of it as in just a one-time intimate moment,
Yeah.
And you do
I
have
just think
people
I'm
that
a pretty open person. And I think too, Dr. Jera, is like, I don't want to be intimate and then like pee, like, oops,
oh yeah.
forgot to tell you, that's a part of MS. So
Yeah.
I'd rather be, as embarrassing as it is in the beginning, I'd rather just be as honest as I can about, and then after I may get super hot and I may need to race and put my head in the cold water. So I'd rather just be honest about some of the pain that may happen, some of the numbness, just not maybe all at once to terrify the guy, but just, try to give a little bit here and there so that, but I don't know if that's something that, would you give that advice?
So if you feel comfortable though with the person, I don't want, anyone to actually just blast it out like you said, all at once and kind of scare the poor guy.
Probably not like on a one night stand. Be like, oh,
no,
let
don't
me
do
tell
that.
you.
Don't do that. Don't do that. But yeah, if you do feel comfortable, if you feel like there's like some type of building that you want to do with them, and it's going to be something that's lasting, then yes, you do need to disclose those things. Like sprinkle them in there here and there, start to disclose it, especially when you know that you're getting closer to a moment with being intimate. But like you just mentioned, if it's something with the one night stand, then
just enjoy the hookup in this way.
and
Say
just
that.
yeah, that's just a given. You're just like, oh, it is what it is. Moving on.
I might have peed a little, but it's okay. You won't know.
That's moving on. That's all you do. So you
So
don't plan on seeing them again, right?
Right. It's done. So with the guy that you talked to, and then with the women, so what do you feel like have you found it more uncomfortable for the men to be in those situations, or more uncomfortable for the women, or kind of found it even?
It's more uncomfortable for, of course, men, because you're damaging their ego. And like I told you, like he said, he had like this arrogance about himself, and he just said it just came all the way down in that first moment after he had his device with them. So it's more effective in the men.
I think too, because they're raised, all of their being is who they are, what they can provide to the woman they're with, what they can provide financially. And when that's not there, then it's, well, who am I? What am I worth? And I mean, how many men really like, soul searching and like, let me like counsel and soul search of who I really am if I'm not this and this. I mean, I know my husband would love to do a month of soul searching. So I think you're right. I think that is really tough for guys to do. So it's tough to do that. And then to get ready on top of all that, deal with your autoimmune disease, deal with the MS. And now you've got like this other haunting thing. I want to be with someone. I want to date someone, but now you're telling me I have to go through all of this on top of it. But I think like when I did the part, the 3-part series with the singles, what I had them do is we looked at some of the dating apps for disability, like disabled, dating apps. And so I've got them, they're all going on one, and then we're going to do our next part, what the dating apps were like and what the date was like. So I'm actually writing them and seeing if they'll sponsor the show for this. And so there are a few that are, some of them are, you can tell have been around. And
Mhm.
some of them, one are two sisters that are, have this company, but I think it's
Oh,
really neat. And also have been so brought to my attention, like, for disabled lingerie and stuff like
oh,
that. And
wow,
so,
yeah.
yeah. And so one of the singles that we're on actually is a model for one. And I love the way that we've come full circle where,
Mhm.
back in the like late 90s, early 2000s, when I was diagnosed, never, ever was that even a thing. And now
Mhm.
we've got these like sexy women in this lingerie that is made for them that,
Yeah.
if, like with my RA, sometimes my hands won't, do those clasps and stuff. But to
Mhm.
think that there are things out there for us when we need them is just so revolutionary to what
Mhm.
there used to be. So I think that does help. And I don't know, I haven't looked what's out there for men, but I just thought, for women, I thought, wow, this is great. So
Yeah.
does that help you think for your line for tell me like some of the situations that you run into with women as far as so I know we talked about pain and stuff like that, but as far as their biggest fears and some of the tools that you use, what would you think? What do you use?
I think with women, it's more of just building that confidence up. So I told you like one of the issues that I found within like the participants with the dissertation is that vaginal lubrication, that was
Yeah,
an
pain.
issue, and pain, and
Yeah.
but it's just more of like building that confidence up. I had one participant said that she was very, very upset that she felt like she couldn't. Her and her husband couldn't be on the same page as far as with like
Okay.
intimately, and so. But I think I'm surprised to find out there are companies out there that are
Yeah.
more geared towards disability, and especially with lingerie and stuff. So I feel like that's just
Yeah.
a full blown like confidence booster
Yeah.
for women. That's
I'll
amazing. I
have it at
never
the
know.
bottom of the page too, at the bottom of this, because I was so excited to find that out. And
Mhm.
so I had some of them looking it up, and I was excited because one of the girls that were on it actually models for them. And I was like,
Mhm.
this is great. I love this. So yeah, so I'll give you the name so you can send them out. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just really have
Mhm.
grown so much in that. So as far as like the women and stuff, as far as when you're done, what is it that you want to go into the most? What is it that you see yourself doing the most of counseling? And I know that you've got lots of things going on and you're so busy. What do you see in your practice that you will that you're drawn to the most, that your heart is just called to the most in all of this?
I see especially picking up and pushing more towards like self empowerment.
Yeah.
Um, I have talked to so many clients and have noticed whether it was men or women, and even with going even back to like participants wise for the dissertation, but it's more of especially within women pulling
Mm.
into that self empowerment
Yeah.
and knowing that they can strive and thrive and they can
Yeah.
survive and they can do anything they want, gearing them more towards like building up self-esteem and that
Mhm.
self-confidence, and knowing that it doesn't matter like as far as with I would have one participant was more concerned with like the weight that she gained and worried
Oh,
about her
yeah.
husband not being appreciative of the weight that
Right.
she's gained with the diagnosis,
Mhm.
but being more comfortable in their own skin and accepting
Yeah.
their bodies, um, pushing more towards, being comfortable with accepting your body and pushing you
Yeah.
more towards walking around, whether it's seeing yourself in the mirror or in the nude, and knowing
Yeah.
that this is you, and then what are we gonna do next, and then
Tell
goal
us
building
about
too.
that. Talk, because that's tough. That's tough for me because I have three kids and they just tore at me like bears. So I had no elasticity. So that my stomach looks like bears just took me and clawed. So I've always struggled with that. It doesn't matter how tiny I get, to look at myself in the mirror and say, I look beautiful is still really tough for me. So
Like,
how do we do that? How do we do
yeah,
that?
I think all of us have gone through those struggles, especially as moms have gone through those struggles. But it's actually just a when I say this, and I say this to a point to where it's actually just more of like a mind, just psychological thing, psyching yourself out with it. But I feel like if you get more comfortable and going in front of a mirror and undressing and making sure like this is me, this is who God, this is the body that God gave me.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I totally support if someone wants to go and get some work done.
Yeah.
Totally support that that's your body. But then to get some women
Yeah.
do have an issue, especially after childbirth, and especially with being diagnosed with MS, you have
Yeah.
an issue with that weight gain part of it.
Yeah. Sure.
But you have to be able to feel a little bit more confident. So getting you there to where you're not going full blown naked in front of a mirror,
Yeah.
but building up to maybe it's just your underwear, maybe it's a
Right.
swimsuit
Yeah.
that you're putting on, and you're able to walk around. And the more you walk around with it, the more you're getting more comfortable with your body, and the more you're seeing, like, yeah, I
Yeah.
might have like some stretch marks here or there, but hey,
Yeah.
it's my body. It's
Right,
gorgeous.
right. And I think that's so important. And I think,
Hmm.
we have a different view because we both share faith. And so
Hmm.
for me to do that and just walk around, open my eyes and be like, I am your daughter and nothing on me is made ugly. You made me beautiful.
Hmm.
So help me to look at me the way you look at me. I am a beautiful daughter of yours. And so these stretch marks are beautiful because I made 3 beautiful babies out of these.
Hmm.
So it is, it's tough to look at that stuff and think, how did I get this much cellulite under my butt? How did I get 2 butts? But we can always find those things. I
Yeah.
did this one sermon on, when I got down to a size I wanted to be. I remember working out in the gym and thinking, how did my knees get so ugly? We will always find something, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? We'll,
Yeah. Yeah.
as
You are correct.
women, we
You are
will
correct.
find something that does not look right on us. So it is like, that was a real game changer for me because I just thought, God, I will always find something that
Hmm.
doesn't look the way I want it. So if I don't find peace in this and acceptance in who I am in the inside and the outside, then I'm going to be in trouble forever. So I think it's acceptance, like we talked about, in ourselves before we can even go out to someone else and say, accept me, if we haven't accepted ourselves.
If you haven't accepted yourself, you are correct.
Well, that
Um,
could preach.
mm.
We just preached a sermon. So you're
Yes.
welcome. So,
Yes. So, but you are correct. It has to come from within first, and
yeah,
getting more comfortable with yourself and telling yourself, like, I am unique. There's no one else out there like me.
yeah,
Especially, like you're saying, like the cellulite, the stretch
yeah,
marks and things. And that's something that you have to keep preaching to yourself. I am
right.
unique. I am wonderful.
Yeah,
I am grand. Because there's no one else out there like me that looks like
right.
me. And then you have to, build up that confidence. So.
Yeah. So one of my last questions I have for you,
Mhm.
Dr. Scott, is so do you find this more difficult in the Black community with women to elevate themselves and make themselves feel beautiful in the MS community as well?
I haven't come across as many, I would say, in the Black community with this issue. I haven't.
It's just
That
us
hasn't
white
been.
girls that are all like not knowing what to do.
I would say it's equal, but
I found
I
this white comedian so funny. She's like, our legs get thick. We're just like, want to shave that shit off. But you know what to do with it. You're like, I own it. I love it. And I'm good with it. Us white girls are
yeah.
like, shave this off. We don't know what to do with ourselves. And you girls know what to do. And I'm so jealous of that.
It
You
well,
know how to accept your bodies in such an amazing way. And we're like, we got to get this off. What do we do? What do we do? But
yeah,
I love how Black women accept and love their bodies. I don't
yeah.
understand.
I think it's more. I mean, I wouldn't say not all of us, but I think it's more like it's a good amount, but I think it's
Yeah,
more of just knowing, and then growing up and just getting like that put into your head by like
yeah,
parents and grandparents, and
for
you are
sure.
beautiful, like you are gorgeous,
Are you
and
gonna sing that song to me?
no, I'm not. but that's where a lot of it gets instilled and where it
Yeah,
comes from. And then
absolutely.
knowing, like, that's history.
Yeah,
Our line, that's our
absolutely.
culture, and knowing that, we're shapely,
Yeah.
and that's the acceptance part of it too.
Mhm.
So I mean, I don't really you have thrown me off.
Oh, I can do that though. It's my podcast.
No, not shave it off though, not shave it off. But
That's
that's
what we
why I
do
think
as white women. If our legs, we're like, oh, shave it. And
but
you
that's
guys wear
also
it
come
so
from growing up
beautifully,
in society too,
right?
what you were taught.
Oh yeah.
So
White girls
so
can't have
that's
thick legs.
so that's
That's
where
not
it comes
allowed.
from. That's where a lot of it, that's the
It
majority of
is.
it comes from. And so,
Absolutely.
within the Black culture, African American culture, Black background
It's
is
beautiful.
beautiful and is accepting, and we know that, we've been taught that growing up.
We want to, but
But it's
it's
just
just not.
it's just knowing, like, you're beautiful no matter what
Yeah,
size you are.
I
So
love that.
yeah,
That's going to be like I love that you're coming into empowering and telling white girls they don't have to shave their legs
you
off.
don't have to do that. No, don't listen to
But
what people are
no,
telling you.
no, do
You're
not do that.
gorgeous.
So I love that. You know how much I love you. You make me laugh so hard. You were
I
so
love you
funny.
too. This is just something that flows with us. So
It does. It just does. And no matter how screwy we are about getting it together, it just
yeah.
works.
Hey, but
But
we're business, but we
we
know how
did
to have
it.
fun. We have fun.
Exactly. We have
Yeah.
fun. So I love you and I'm excited. You're going to be coming on with our girls, with our support group. They're going to
Yeah.
love you. We're going to have so much fun. And
Yeah, we are.
thank you so much. I'm going to put all of your stuff at the bottom of the show notes
Hmm.
so they know how to get a hold of you. So no one's swerving off the road or anything. So we're going to put that all on the road on the show
Yeah.
notes. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. I love this. I love being with you. I'll have you on
Thank you.
again.
Same. I love you too. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I can't wait to collaborate some more stuff. I just really enjoy talking to you and
Yeah,
want to
same.
follow you and what you're doing. Can't wait to get you started and see where you are next.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
And this has been a pleasure. And anytime,
absolutely.
anything you need
Thank
me to
you.
do,
Oh,
anytime.
I will always need you, girlfriend. All right, guys. So this was part 2. So if you missed part 1, we're going to air this part 1 and 2 together. So we'll be on in a few weeks. So enjoy. Thank you so much. I love you. And guys, enjoy and have a great day. And don't forget, move it or lose it. Don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to rate us. So have a great day, guys.